about, in fact, our Gaganyaan mission. Of course, India's endeavour for human spaceflight that is set to take place sometime next year. He stated that 4 astronauts have been identified. Group Captain Shukla is of course headed to the ISS in just a few months, very soon, as part of the Axiom mission. He's spoken about Bharat's second spaceport in Thoothukudi district that's going to be coming up very soon as well. The fact that our Venus mission is scheduled for 2028. We have Chandrayaan 4 that is coming up in collaboration with JAXA, and also the Bharat Antariksh Hub that we are of course setting our sights for 2035. I'd like to rope in Dr. VN Jha once again. You were of course taking our viewers through the moments, the entire process of the touchdown, but I'd also like to gauge your reaction as to what exactly Dr. Jitendra Singh has said and the roadmap that he's put out.
Dr. Jitendra Singh has spoken his mind about India's activity in the space sector, and India is progressing fairly well. Gaganyaan has taken up some setback, mostly because of the COVID that came through, and thereafter things are progressing all right. There is hardly any problem. But yes, initial sets of crew who were trained earlier in Russia, that has gone past too long back. ISRO has now started its own training program. So all those things should be taking up shape in the coming times. While we were, hello?
Yes, sir, you may go on.
Yeah, while we were discussing about how the seals and the dolphins that welcome the newcomers from or the intruders from space. So I complimented that yes, so nice of them to have asked the crew that, can I do anything for you? Good thing that it happened. But I was coming to you, Pia, regarding the thing why they got struck. The thumb rule of space exploration is never blast off with a faulty system. That's the thumb rule, and that they had ignored. I was trying to show the book. I have written a separate chapter onto it, that when everything is in your hand, you must take all those time to address the fault into the system. Leakage in the Boeing Starliner was observed even before the blast off. There was already a postponing of the initial blast off. So those things already known. I think India, ISRO should also take a leaf out of it, that those thumb rules must be maintained, because should India get stuck in its own way, of course, this is Gaganyaan is only one module. There is nothing docking or nothing undocking. It will go there in the orbit for the specified days and deorbit and come back, splash down here. So I wish India all the best. But then there are many things which we can learn out of what had gone wrong with the flights or the missions that we are talking about it. So indeed, everything is fine. Sunita Williams is back. I'm sure in the coming time, Sunita Williams will come here to India and PM Modi will rope her in. She will surely going to give her some sort of job to take ISRO also to the heights, especially in the research and development in the space. Right now, we don't have our space station. For any meaningful research to happen, space station is mandatory, because this crew module, what is going from here, it's a too small a space to have any research laboratory within that. So it's something that the first time we are doing it there. It's a limited space. It's a limited exposure that is going to be there. I wish our own team of Gaganyaan and ISRO the very best of it. But I'm sure they will be also learning many things what has gone through in the previous Crew 9 mission or even before that Starliner.
Indeed, I'd like to take this forward, in fact, to Dr. Arun P. Sikarwar. Group Captain Jha has spoken about what India can learn from this particular mission itself. And I remember during one of the tests for the Gaganyaan mission, I was here, in fact, in our studio when the countdown was taking place. It was quite a nerve-wracking moment. We were keeping our eyes peeled. But just a few seconds before the mission was supposed to launch, the ISRO team decided to not do it. They had said that there were some glitches, and only after 2 hours was the test flight then carried out in order to check the rocket carrying payloads related to crew safety. That was of course a successful mission, but India did take a very calculated decision at that moment, despite the world's eyes being on us. You know, we'd just been successful after the third Chandrayaan mission, and of course this is a very ambitious endeavor, human space flight. For the first time we are attempting. It's a cost-effective mission as well. What takeaways should ISRO have, should India have from this particular mission, the Crew 9 mission?
Okay, Pia, thank you for having me at NewsX. These space missions are very calculated, very, foolproof they are made. So it means before making human-rated space flight missions, before that, more than 10 times uncrewed missions are being sent to the space, like with the cargo. Like if you think of this SpaceX, Dragon 9 mission, it was used for cargo to send to the space missions at ISS with the food. Like Indian Space Research Organizations, so we are very calculative. And last time TVD1 demonstration, yeah, it happened like they cancelled, and that's why the countdown happens in the space flights many a times. So that countdown gives, very calculative, and they stop if there's any mistake. And fuel, to put the fuel in the rocket, it happens at the last few minutes or even last 1 hour. And sometimes that fuel leakage happens because fuel is like gases, okay, mostly. So it is very calculative. Like Indian Space Research Organization, they are very calculative. Now private partnership, is being allowed by the government of India. And they are also accumulating data. They are sharing, on the MOU basis with the ISRO. And that's why the probably upcoming missions of Gaganyaan with the beyond not will be like few times to make them human rated. And then later on humans will be sent to the space. Similarly, now space tourism is one of the, very attractive idea. I mean, who knows that after 5 or 10 years, in India also, there will be, such rockets, reusable rockets will be there. And for laser purpose, people will be going to the space to celebrate birthday or anniversaries kind of thing. So that time also, we need a lot of data for how to make human survival in that space and how to take him or her back to the Earth, because that is the most highest priority of any space mission to keep human lives okay during the flight. Yes,
Indeed.
Pia.
I'd also like to rope in Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, who's been waiting rather patiently. Sir, you've also heard what exactly Dr. Jitendra Singh has had to say. Now, what's interesting is that the Dragon capsule that was used for this particular mission by SpaceX, that is also going to be used for the Axiom mission. Dr. Jitendra Singh spoke about the fact that Group Captain Shukla will be headed to the ISS very soon. So Axiom is of course another private company in the United States of America. Meanwhile, ISRO of course is looking at the human spaceflight endeavor. But where do you see the private space sector in India? We are making several inroads, but how many years down the line do you think private sector in India can also foray into human spaceflight? What is your estimate?
Well, first things first, I think SpaceX has, by conducting this flight flawlessly, both up and down, joined the ranks of NASA, if not on an equal basis, because NASA, of course, is a huge organization with massive funding. It has certainly joined the ranks as a credible space flight venture. Now, in India, we have been launching private satellites in ISRO for a number of people. In terms of our own SpaceX-like venture, we have to understand it is very, very capital intensive. And even though India has developed some frugal methods, which makes our space flights much cheaper than those of NASA or even SpaceX, it is backed by a massive organization at ISRO. And for a private sector party to replicate that is going to be one, difficult, two, perhaps not viable financially. However, they can make various modules, they can make spacecraft to be tested alongside and in collaboration with ISRO, or indeed with the private companies in the United States who wish to collaborate with Indian parties, again, mainly because of their frugal engineering.
Indeed. With that, I would like to thank all my guests for taking our time speaking to NewsX. I have a paucity of time, but before we take a quick short break, there's in fact some news that's coming in